saying no to clients to get a client base that you want without making them angry.
Would that be saying no to the fees that they want to pay, or say no to the expectations they have? Or?
She doesn't say, but if I'm thinking under that, I'm thinking this is somebody who feels like, you know, the clients are saying jump and she's feeling like she has to jump to give them what they want. Push back, you know, I guess it's about pushing back on them to make them understand how things work. I mean, I think quite often that comes from them not understanding what you do and the process and the benefits of what you do. It's like when you go to an accountant, you don't say to the accountant, okay, well, this is how I'd like you to do my accounts. And I think there's clients out there who, right, okay, we're going to be, so this is what we're going to do. Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah, me too. So, okay, I've now taken you on as a specialist to help me find this person, and this is how I want you to do it. You know, I think quite often that sort of question comes from that place.
I think that you know, it all stems right from the beginning, though, doesn't it? It's you know, if you're looking at the controlling the process and consulting the process and deeply qualifying the role before you work on it, and then having agreed milestones or expectations. If we talk about that at the front end, and be very clear on that. So you know, a really basic example would be, you know, when people are talking about getting resumes to a client, it's like, okay, well, I'll send you the resume. Realistically, how long is it going to take you to look at that? Okay, so it's going to take you 1 day. So well, what I'll do, I'll follow you up within 24 hours and we'll do this. So then if the client's not calling you back second day, third day, fourth day, you're well within your rights to actually be quite assertive in your follow-up with them, because that was part of your original agreement.
Yeah.
So if there's always a joint agreement of what the expectations are, whose responsibility is to do that, and what is part of the process, then it doesn't become an issue further down the track, I don't think.
Setting expectations, so important. We used to do it as well with interview times. We'd say, okay, well, let's lock in some interview times now. And, you know, the worst that could happen is you didn't have a candidate and they had a free hour. But whereas that time was locked in, because we all know how hard it is, you know, chasing, okay, can you see it? No, can't see the men. What about them? No. And that was just one tip that when we started doing that, worked really well.
Well, I think just to add to that, I think in the current kind of climate that we're in, I think sometimes there might be this misconception that any job's a good job. And that's not necessarily the case. You know, if we're working on highly unqualified roles, highly contingent with a bunch of other recruiters working on them as well, you know, it's a false economy. It is. So we kind of have to go, that clients might have this misconception there's a huge amount of candidates in the market, and, you know, they can just kind of like pick and choose who they want. And in reality, that might not be the case, and it's up to.
Well, I don't think it is. It's really interesting how I've had so many people say to me, so to give one example, one lady in the US, she runs a contracting business she has like truckers and hospitality, and when they're not so much the hospitality side, but the transport side, when they're wanting people, a lot of the people aren't wanting to work because they're getting the government handouts. So there's lots of people there, but she's really struggling because they're going, well, I'm at home, I feel safe, I'm not getting COVID, and I'm getting paid. So why would I want to go and work? And I'm not saying that's everybody, but you wouldn't expect that. We would all be going, oh, everybody's been laid off, there's loads of jobs. Another lady was saying one of her clients is in the aged care space. And the people in there aren't wanting to move because they feel loyal to the not the inmates, the residents. My God, the residents that are in the facilities. That was another one. And then I've heard a few different versions. In fact, I think I even wrote a post about it a few weeks ago. A few different versions of things. So and that's an educational expectation piece, isn't it? And saying to clients, well, no, actually, this isn't what's happening in the market. And this is why, because I think they need some context around it. It's like, oh, yeah, of course you'd say that you're a recruiter. But in fact, well, this is what the market is saying to me, and then letting them know that you do actually understand what's happening out there in the market.
And quite often the attrition is going to be from the people that probably aren't the high performers, because everyone's going to want to hold on to their high performers.
Yeah.
And if companies have looked after those high performers exceptionally well during this period of time, there's going to be a huge level of loyalty.
Yeah.
It's just not the right thing to do to move. So, you know, there's that whole conversation that we need to have with clients around, this is probably not realistic, or this isn't something that we can. So
there's been a few little points through this whole COVID process where I think we would have thought intuitively things would go that way, but they've gone, and this is a good example of that.